Hey everyone, and welcome to my latest video. This time I'm making a chessboard. I made it over one of the last lockdowns that we had, and with plenty of time on my hands, I thought I would make a chessboard. I just had a desire to make something out of wood, and I think I saw someone else's video on YouTube where they used the plywood for decorative purposes, and I'll use that later on. So I had that idea, I just wanted to use this plywood, which you can see later on, and I thought I could make something with carving in it as well. So I could carve the pieces of the chessboard. So I could bring together a couple of different techniques into one project. So here I am, I'm just getting the squares prepared, and of course I miscounted and had to cut the proper amount. I have no idea how I messed that up, but somehow I did. I just looked up on the internet the basic size of like what chessboards are supposed to be, and I think it was maybe between 4 centimeters squared and maybe 5.5 or something like that. So I think I went for 5 centimeters squares. Yeah, about that. So this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier. I saw someone do this technique on YouTube somewhere, where they cut plywood and then, as in sliced it, and then put it on its side, and then reveals all of the different layers, just to create an interesting pattern, which I'll put around the border, around the edge of the actual chest, to the squares. So this is what I was talking about here, with the edging. It's all the plywood cut into slices and then glued together on its side, and then cut again, and then put together to form just a decorative banding. But it's something that I haven't done before, and I thought it'd be good to try out. So here it is all glued together, and I've glued it to a base of plywood for reinforcement, and it's turned out pretty good. There are a few little gaps that I'm going to fill in just with some sawdust mixed with PVA glue, just to fill in the gaps. So now I'm just gluing on some edging, just to hide the imperfections down the side, and little gaps there in the screws. So here I've just mixed PVA glue with sawdust into a paste, and I'm just sort of using the palette knife to scrape it into the gaps, and it'll just fill in most of those gaps. And here I've put a Velcro sanding disc onto the angle grinder, and it turns out that's really aggressive. So I mean, it worked really well, but I had to be really careful with it, and it did the job really well. Because I had to kind of use it because that red gum is such a hard wood to work with that it's really hard to sand down whereas the light coloured wood it's much softer. But in the end, it worked out in the end. I had one mistake, and I cut a big chunk out of one of the squares, so I just had to paint over it to finish it. I first started with a sealing coat of matte varnish, but then after that I just quickly went to gloss varnish. So this might be the third layer of varnish in that I'm sanding it back again and again, and I think maybe in the end there was like 10 layers of varnish in the end, because I just had a bit of trouble trying to get it perfectly smooth. And so here I'm just going down the grades of sandpaper, so I think I probably started at 240 and now just going all the way down through 400 and 600 and 800 and then 1000 grit. And yeah, then I followed it up with some polishing, just using car polish, car cut and polish. And the finish turned out so well that water will just completely bead off of it and just not stick to it at all. Yeah, so it turned out really well. So here I'm getting the wood ready for the pieces. I'm using Huon pine here. I've had it sort of stored away for a little while. I haven't really been using it, but it's pretty expensive wood, so I thought I'd save it for a pretty decent sort of project. And I don't have that much of it, so I really had to make sure that I got like all of it, like as in I could use as much of it as I could. So I really had to plan out the pieces because I didn't have much to waste. But I thought that I would start with the red gum pieces first, because the wood's a lot harder to work with. So I thought I'd get that done first, and then I'd go to the Huon pine and carve the Huon pine pieces. So this is just a cheap lathe that I bought from Aldi's, and it does the job. It's not the best, but yeah, it gets the job done. These two here are the rooks, like the castles. So I've cut them out this way, and then I decided to try and do my best to slice the what are they called? Parapets, whatever they're called, at the top on the table saw. So to help me with the pieces, I've just found a basic template off Google Images of chess pieces, and just printed them off, and then that served as my guide on the different heights and sizes and widths to make each piece. I think this was the last pieces that I really worked on, because they're the most labour intensive, which is the knights. All the other pieces were just mostly carved out on the lathe, whereas the knights had to be hand carved. Yeah, so I think I've finished all the red gum, and now moving on to the Huon pine pieces, and using the red gum pieces as a guide, just to try and get the sizes the same. And I put maybe 3 layers of varnish on each of the pieces, and it really brought out the gloss of the pieces. It made them look really nice. And then I was kind of looking at the pieces and kind of thought they maybe just needed a bit more separation, like contrast. So I cut the opposing colours for all the bases. So the red gum got a Huon pine base, and then the Huon pine pieces got a red gum base. Yeah, I had to hand carve a few details. So these are the queens, just had to carve out the crowns or whatever they are. And just to finish off, I put these just felt bases on the bottoms. That's it, here it is, it's all finished. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. The differences between the red gum and the Huon pine are pretty good, so there's a nice contrast between the two woods. And eventually, I got the surface to be pretty smooth, so everything turned out pretty good. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.